I am Safeena, and I have a few words on the slides, and I wanted to see if anybody knows what do these words have in common. Maybe you can take a guess. I can also put on their Hindi versions. The first word is achuki, which means arrived. We have the last one, which is antimbala, angry, naraz. Faltu means useless in Hindi. Dhapu means fed up. Missed call, I think everybody knows what a missed call is. Maafi, which means apology. These are names of girls. Yes, names of girls. Antimbala, because everybody wished that that would be the last girl to be born. And Naraznath, when I asked her saying, why is your name angry? She said, because everybody was so angry when a daughter was born instead of a son. Missed call. Parents named this little girl Missed Call because they made a call to God for a son, and God missed their call because they got a daughter. It is unbelievable the sort of marginalization and discrimination that women and girls actually face since birth. You know that you were not wanted, just like Achuki, you have arrived. Arrived but not wanted. And so our work at Educate Girls is really very much focused on the issue of women and girls. Why are girls actually discriminated and marginalized like this? It's because of how they are valued. In many places in our society, a goat is an asset and a girl is a liability. It's just how we see women and girls. In Hindi, we call them paraya dhan, which means, they're somebody else's problem. They're going to go off and live in somebody else's house. They are not for you to kind of invest in. And the problem is massive. And it's because of this problem that girls like Naraz or Antimbala or Missed Call are actually denied their right and their opportunity to an education. It is at the root is this mindset that sort of governs it. The problem is massive if you look at the older girls. There are 66 million girls in India today, and many more globally, who will actually never complete secondary school. So 15 to 25-year-old women and young girls who will not complete secondary, 66 million actually translates into 57% of that age group. 57% of the women and young girls will never complete secondary, and the implication of that is, if you don't even have a 10th grade certificate, you cannot get an entry-level government job, you cannot get any entry-level private jobs. If you want to start a business, you cannot get formal bank loans without that credential. So imagine 57% of your country cannot actually enter the formal economy. 57% of your country cannot actually have the opportunities that others do. And they hold up half the sky. We cannot aim to have gender equality if that doesn't happen. So the problem is absolutely humongous when we sort of think about it. Majority of these women and girls tend to be rural, remote, tribal. So if that's how large the problem is, what is the sort of solution? Because a lot of these girls cannot go back into mainstream schools because of either motherhood or migration or early marriage, they failed a couple of subjects in the 9th and 10th, dropped out of school. It's been a couple of years, they can't go back into mainstream schools. Access to secondary. In a lot of rural areas, the secondary school is really far off. So a lot of girls can actually never make it to secondary. So when the problems are so complex and so deep, what is the solution? So there's one solution that we've been sort of piloting and working with, and it's called Project Pragati. And it's essentially a second chance at secondary education. It's a flexible approach. You can choose your subjects. You can take the exams, once. If you don't clear it, twice. So it's very, very, very flexible. You study on your own time. So it gives girls or even child brides the opportunity to be able to complete their secondary education. And the way it works is, for us, it's imagine like a summer camp, like a 4-month summer camp, right? Which runs at the doorstep, like it runs in your village, run by a village level mentor, coach, guide that is trained by us. And in those 4 months, we help you actually figure out your subjects, register for the exam, you get all the subject-specific knowledge, you get all the soft skills that you need, right? So anything to do with confidence building and employability skills, etc. Entire package. You don't have to travel anywhere. 3 hours a day for 4 months, you're just there at your doorstep. And that's what the camp does, and it helps the girls to actually pass their 10th grade exam. But the situation doesn't end here, because what good is a 10th grade exam if you just still have to sit at home and have children and just look after the house? So the package also comes with linkages to training, linkages to job, linkages to credentialing, to further education. The same model not just works for the 10th grade, but it also works for a 12th grade credential. Now the big question becomes, does this model scale? We've done it for about a couple of years. We've gone just from like a couple of hundred girls to actually about 6,000 girls in the last cohort. We aim to reach about 40,000, but our aspiration is not in hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. Our aspiration is 10 million over the next 10 years, because the problem is so large that unless we really think about super large scale, we're not even going to make a dent in it. So the problem, we think we have the green shoots of scale, and we think we can scale it, and we're putting this aspiration into the ground. The second, it doesn't work. So even with our early cohorts, our results are about 35% higher in terms of pass results than the state's open school results. So we know that we have something really good going, and that our girls are passing. And then, this year we're actually piloting the linkages to see how they can land with life chances and with opportunities. So maybe it can scale, it has impact, but most of all, what I think it brings to our girls is a community, is about joy, is really, you come and you make friends and you meet girls, you have peer support, you learn how to study, you learn how to gain knowledge, which is a skill that is like a lifetime skill. So for us, Pragati is really a foundational piece that we want to bring to every single rural, remote tribal girl who is permanently at risk of never being able to complete her secondary. Because we understand that with incomplete education, employment is inconsistent. When employment is inconsistent, then you cannot actually have gender equality. You're always dependent about the father, the brother, whoever it is, and the male member of the household to kind of look after you. And what we're really going for with Project Pragati is to make sure that our women and our girls have the choice and voice built through capacity and confidence. And so what gives us, or educate girls this sort of confidence that we can do this? And the confidence we have is because we've done this for about 15 years. We've worked in rural, remote, and tribal areas. We have actually brought millions of girls back into school over the last 15 years. This is a geography that we know really well. We've only ever focused on the out-of-school girls. So this is a profile that we know really well. And it's also because we're also mission aligned. I myself am a product of second chance education. I had a long interruption in my own education, and then came back because somebody helped me, kind of like a mentor who came and helped me. And I ended up going back to college and completing my education, and which is why I kind of stand here. And that's what we really want to bring. And why do we call it Pragati? Because we don't want girls to be named Missed Call, Naraz Nath, Antim Bala, or Ajaki. Essentially, we want to bring them Pragati, which means progress. So really, it's about progress for all. So thank you so much for your time. I am Safeena Husain, and I educate girls.